Welcome to Andy and Ari on TV. Day one of SEC Media Days in the books. Day two beginning. Got Hugh Freeze and Kirby Smart this morning. Kirby Smart will be going on as we're on the air, Ari. I don't know if he's going to say any. He's not the typical drop any bombshells at Media Days kind of guy, so I don't know if we're going to get too much.
Kirby Smart is the coach that will say something interesting, and it takes like 5 minutes to break down, but when you finally get the answer to it, he means something very deep, but not exactly what he said. Is that right?
That actually sounds good. Yes.
Yeah. Like he's delivers messages, but they're also delivered in a package where, like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you'd never get it. Right?
Yeah, he will occasionally speak in code. That is for sure. Yeah. One who never speaks in code is Lane Kiffin, who was there yesterday. And I don't think Lane was trying to make any waves. Like the headline, I made the headline of this video, Lane Kiffin stirs it up at SEC Media Days, which he did in multiple ways without even meaning to. And that's the part I love about Lane Kiffin. Like, he is a gift from the content gods, and the fact that he's got a good team that's relevant makes it even better.
Yeah. Stirs it up is interesting because, like, the conversation topics that he was hitting are very significant, but at the same time too, I don't think he said anything crazy. I don't know about you, but let's get into it.
He got rolled into some of these. Like we'll start where everybody wants to start, because you and I have talked about that on the show, like sending all the fish pictures to Hugh Freeze. So somebody finally asked, what's up with the fish pictures to Hugh Freeze? What are you doing?
It seemed like in the past week you've had a few tweets tagging or directing at Hugh Freeze. Was curious what the message or thought behind some of those posts were.
Well, someone said that coming in here to me. I like Coach Freeze, so I think they think that was something to do with, like, I was fishing, it was golfing. That really wasn't that. I have a thing with him going back a few years ago when he, like, posted a picture, like, in response to me of, like, some 2-pound bass or something like that. So I've kind of always posted bigger fish pictures back towards him. So that had nothing to do with his golf game, which sounds like he's doing amazing at that. So that's great for him.
The best comedy is when the comedian takes it so seriously that you're not sure if they're joking or not. Like the best movie comedies are when the actor commits completely.
Yeah.
They are playing it as if the character takes all of this stuff seriously, even though they're in these absurd situations. That was the last two sentences of that Lane Kiffin answer right there. It's not about his golf game, which is fantastic, I hear. So good for him.
Yeah, I'm not confused. He was definitely jabbing him. There's no other way to take that. Like, he played the bit well. And if you would have stopped the answer of, like, yeah, we've been doing this for a few years, and if you go back and verify whether or not that's actually true or whatever, but, like, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he, like, did it again at the podium. Like, there's no question about it. Like, that last golf part was a complete and utter jab, and there's no other way to take that.
I wish they played this year. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they both make the SEC championship game, or they both make the playoff and they play, but they're not scheduled to play this year. But wow, that Lane's utterly fascinating to me, because I think he knows he's got a pretty good team. I think he knows he's got a very good quarterback, because we had Austin Simmons on the show, obviously a very impressive young man, but you can come off impressively in an interview and not be a great quarterback.
How much correlation do you think there is between those two things?
I don't think there's any. I've met people who are fantastic on the mic, who in any social situation they can handle it, who are great with their teammates, and then they just don't get it done on the field. And then there are guys who get it done on the field who are socially awkward and who aren't good at interviews, or not necessarily great talking to their teammates, but just as soon as the lights come on, they're awesome. I think usually at quarterback, there needs to be leadership skills. There needs to be some sort of minimum level of communication.
We were at Big 12, and Devin Dampier was being really funny.
Oh my God.
And you're like, Devin Dampier is going to win the Heisman. It's like,
Heisman Trophy.
Yep. Like, he might be, like, really funny in this room, but I don't know if there's a correlation between, being really funny and engaging and,
Well, didn't I say the same thing, like, when we recorded with Austin Simmons a few months ago? What did I say when he signed off? I was like, that kid's winning the Heisman.
You know what this means more than anything? It means that at the end of the year, we should award the media Heisman Trophy.
We should. Diego Pavi is the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
So far.
like the Heisman Trophy for the best personality or the best gift to the media in the sport.
I mean, Lane Kiffin.
No, player-wise, you can't give it to
Okay,
him.
I was going to say, because Lane Kiffin might get the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Because he was on a roll yesterday without even trying. That's the best part.
The thing about Lane Kiffin that like kind of gets me is he's funny. His Twitter is good. He's like a youthful minded coach in the sense that he understands how to engage and, you know, make the best out of social media. Cause I don't think most coaches like know how to like exist in that cesspool of a website. And he does. The thing, it's just like, I wish one day his team was actually the best. Cause you imagine like if he would behave this way while also having a team that was like,
I am glad you asked that because someone asked Lane Kiffin about his social media strategy, and he said it has evolved as his team has changed.
You know, Chris Lowe asked me before, he's like, man, you seem really like quiet today. Like, you know, no kind of like lines that you're giving people and stuff. And I said, you know, a lot of that was by design. You know, that I think that when you take a job and you're at a place where maybe it's been down a little bit and how kids are today, like you've got to get out there. You got to do things to be creative, to get your brand out there that are non-traditional versus just, well, play really well. Well, yeah, okay, well, that takes a while to play really well and have the performance on the field. So it brings attention to your program. Recruits see it. Parents see it. I get all the time with parents, whether I'm going there or whether they're coming to me, and they're like, I feel like I already know you because of your social media. Like, we love it. So there's a lot in there because of that, kind of the stirring the pot stuff and things like that. And then I think you don't do quite as much once your program, you know, has got to a point where you do have national attention for your brand. I think where we are now compared to where we were 5 years ago. But then there's still some little stuff in there that's just, I feel like I look at social media on a daily basis if I do things just as a normal person. Like, hey, that's funny, so I retweet that, you know, like just kind of like normal people do. And so there's that part there's not a whole lot of thought into. Like, you know, somebody said, you know, like they put things on like phones, like the sober thing where you got to blow in, like, you know, for your car keys and stuff. Like they put that on your phone for social media, like just from a standpoint of like, hey, you have to wait 5 minutes. Like when you write a post, before you post it, you got to wait 5 minutes, you know, before you actually push send. Because a lot of times people send me stuff and I just hit the button and like retweet it, you know, because it's not that big a deal.
I think there was a part of my life where I could have used the social media interlock device. That's interlock. I think that's the device if you've gotten a DUI that they put in your car where you have to blow into to prove you're sober to actually use your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have used some of that on Twitter at times with responding to people. The one thing, oh man, Lane Kiffin is funnier on Twitter than he is in real life.
Bingo. If you watched the 9-minute Lane Kiffin Paul Feinbaum interview yesterday, which is floating around on the internet because everybody loved it. If you watched it, it was really interesting because here's the thing. I don't know Lane as well as I know Paul, but I've been around Lane a few times and have talked to enough people who know Lane. Lane and Paul Feinbaum are the same person. They are very much introverts who have very forward-facing jobs and have to perform in very public places.
But Paul is also
that's why they get each other so well.
Paul is very dry funny. Like, I don't think people realize that about him. Like, and he says things in passing that most people probably miss that are quite funny if you like unpack it. I actually think that Paul Feinbaum is funny. And I don't know if anybody ever said that before. I mean, or people recognize him for being funny. And I think that there is a gift. Like, I think that I am funny, but I think that I'm funny, like off the cuff while talking. I couldn't go do stand-up. There's very different, like, fun ways. Like, I think Lane Kiffin is very clever online. I don't know if I would consider him a funny person.
They had this whole spiel on the show about the Odd Couple. Paul was trying to explain the concept of the Odd Couple to Lane, who probably never watched it because he was busy playing football when he was growing up. But it is, I don't know which one of them is Walter Matthau and which one is Jack Lemmon. I guess Paul is Walter Matthau, but Paul is not a slob.
Yeah, and if you go back to the genesis of it, because I didn't watch this whole clip, Andy, but like Lane Kiffin, went on a Paul Feinbaum appearance like 6 months ago or a year ago and like thanked him for his life because like Paul got him fired at Tennessee or at USC, right?
Yeah,
so, like, Paul called him
exactly.
a fraud and the guy sucks and all that stuff, and they've kind of like formed a friendship over it. But like, yeah, I like that. I have a really hard time with Lane Kiffin in deciding how great of a coach he is.
It's a legitimate question, and I think he's gotten much better. I think there's been an evolution of Lane Kiffin because think about this: he gets the Tennessee job. That's after the Raiders job. Like he'd already had he was the Raiders head coach at, I want to say, 34 years old, which should not have happened.
A young 34 too, yeah.
Yeah, he'll tell you it shouldn't have happened. And then he gets fired. Like Al Davis had the overhead projector out and is putting transparencies on the overhead projector to explain why Lane Kiffin was fired and why why Al Davis now thinks Lane Kiffin is a terrible coach. He gets the Tennessee job. I actually think he did a few good things at Tennessee. He just obviously didn't stay to see it through because USC opened up and that's the job he really wanted. The Lane Kiffin who emerged from the Nick Saban rehabilitation program as FAU's head coach and then Ole Miss's head coach is a much better head coach than the Lane Kiffin who coached USC and Tennessee.
The most ironic part about it is that I feel like 37-year-old Lane would have been more successful if he got his first job now rather than in the era that he got it too. I think younger coaches are more prone or more
Ooh, that's a good point.
In this era of college football, especially with like somewhat like the roster accumulation and in recruiting is kind of somewhat out of their hands at, to some degree now. If you go to the right place with some money who's willing to get you guys, like I think that Lane Kiffin's personality and desire to, kind of stir it up, to honor the name of the episode, I think would play better now. Taking the Tennessee job when he took it was an incredibly hard job. Taking the USC job when he took it was a pretty hard job. He was following Pete Carroll at USC, but
that's like following Urban Meyer at Ohio State, following Steve Spurrier at Florida, following name your legendary coach.
But now I feel like he would be awesome at USC, which is funny because like the new Lane. The edgy Lane that is combined with a new mature Saban rehab Lane, I think would do really well there. And it kind of maybe is a bonus podcast because this podcast is a living organism. We never know where it's going to go. But if you had to build a football program or you had a football program that was B tier, like a team between 25 and 18, like Ole Miss has typically been and USC has been. Starting today, which coach would you take, Lincoln Riley or Lane Kiffin?
Lane Kiffin. It's not even close.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and when you think about like how that's all kind of played out, if you would have asked this question 6 years ago, it would have been Lincoln Riley, no question. And I don't know if that's just a rough spat for Lincoln Riley at USC or if Lane Kiffin is coming into his own. But on one hand, I have a heck of a lot of respect for what he just said at the podium, which is Ole Miss is a different place now than it was 5 years ago. But at the other hand, too, it's just like Lane Kiffin has also repeatedly lost all the big games, and he finally
he won. They won the Georgia game, but then
last year he broke through, and then he lost
the Florida game and the Kentucky game were the not big games that they lost. That now they got to fix that part of it.
So, do you think that Ole Miss's season last year was a epic failure or the next step in a progression that leads to greatness? Like, I don't know. I have a hard time.
They're both. This is the SEC, Ari. Like, when you didn't reach the goal you were supposed to reach, you failed. We don't grade on a curve here. But it also can be, like, I'll give you an example. Was Georgia losing the 2018 and 2019 SEC championship games an epic failure? Yes. Did it help Georgia get where it needed to go ultimately and win those 2 national titles down the road? Yes, it had to happen to teach Kirby Smart the lessons that got taught.
But you're still talking about SEC title and not making it there. Like I last year, I think was more of a failure on Ole Miss's part than those Georgia games.
Last year was a massive failure because the Kentucky game, there's no excuse for. The Florida game, there's really no excuse for because he would club Georgia. You had an open date, like you had a week off while Florida was playing LSU. Like you should have won that game. There's no excuse for that.
Firmly believe this. And I don't know if this is going to make Ole Miss fans happy or sad, but if Ole Miss was playing peak football last year, like the Georgia game that we saw, and I think too that we were a little bit blinded by how thorough of a butt kicking that was because Georgia might not have been as good as, our perceptions led us to believe at that time on the calendar, that Ole Miss could have won the national title last year. Like I think they were good enough. Like
they had the roster. Like peak Ole Miss against peak Ohio State would have been a fun game. Would have been a really fun game.
If Ohio State played the Ole Miss that showed up in that Georgia game that day, that would have been a game. So, I have a hard time with it, but like also too, brand rehabilitation, and you and I think differ on this, but brand rehabilitation and building and like wins that don't necessarily mean on the field, I think are just as important at times. Like Ole Miss is a different place than it was. So even in the face of the epic failure of last season, like Ole Miss is still better off now than when he found it, right?
100%.
I think you deserve a lot of credit for that. So like for me, I'm an ultra critical person at times. If you've ever read a single column I've wrote, I get after it sometimes, but I don't know, like, if I were to give him a letter grade on his whole existence at Ole Miss, how I would grade that. It's confusing to me.
I'd give him a B+ because he didn't make the playoff when he had the roster to make the playoff. But the thing is, sometimes the things don't happen in the year they're supposed to happen. Maybe this is one of those situations where it's got to be the year after. Like,
especially true for teams that have really good rosters year over year. But like, I don't think that we can live under the illusion that Ole Miss is just as good as they were last year from a talent perspective. They're not, right?
I don't know that. Here's, and I'm glad you said that because this is what I want to get into. Has Lane Kiffin not given us an indication that he's going to year over year keep their talent level high? Like they went into the portal hard this year. The names were not as sexy as last year. And really, Walter Nolan was the sexiest name last year. But I have a feeling that they are going to be one of the top third of the SEC in terms of talent. I'm not worried about their talent. Like Deshaun Stribling was Oklahoma State's best receiver last year. He's at Ole Miss now.
Mm-hmm.
They got Arkansas's best tight end. Like they went and got some people that will help them.
Yeah. A lot obviously on the quarterback, but I trust that they'll be okay. You look at the two deep, and I think the difference between last year and this year is, like you said, it's not as like overtly sexy. Like in the sense that they went out and won the portal.
Chris Paul, when they got him from Arkansas.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
everybody like, oh my God, they got Chris Paul. They weren't, but he was incredible for them.
No, I agree with you. No, I'm with you. I think that the reason why we are somewhat not as, because like Ole Miss was the topic of last offseason. Like if you remember, like we talked
like
about
Texas Tech this year. Yes.
Texas Tech. The Ole Miss was Texas Tech last year. And Ole Miss also returned a lot of good players too, on top of what they brought in. So, but I do also buy, and I think we've even had segments on this show talking about it, like what teams did really well in the portal or what teams are going to be very good that aren't like getting the sexy headlines. And I think that Ole Miss would probably fall under that category because, I think that we've also, with the portal, it's so exciting and it's so like awe-inspiring of like content that a lot of times it's like, oh, they just picked up the best tight end from Arkansas, but it's not a sexy 5-star name. You lose track of it. But if they're a very productive player, the number of highly productive players that you need to be highly successful in this sport has gone down dramatically.
Yeah, and if you got 5 of those guys out of the portal,
you got 5 highly successful, productive players out of the portal, and your quarterback is awesome. You have a chance to make the playoff anywhere.
And,
right?
and I think that's where Ole Miss is. Let's talk about one more thing Lane Kiffin said, because it goes with something we talked about yesterday. If you missed the emergency show yesterday, you can find it on the On3 YouTube page. You should be subscribed to that so that whenever we go live, you get the push notification. But subscribe to the On3 YouTube page, because when things happen, like Greg McElroy saying, I've heard that Nick Saban might be interested in coming back to coach. Well, we start talking about that. Lane Kiffin got asked about that, and he certainly did not poo-poo it. Because like Greg, who was the one who kind of started all this, he said, I'm not sure this is going to happen. I don't think he's actually coming back to coach. And Paul Feinbaum's like, I don't think he's actually coming back to coach. Here's Lane.
Way 31 report today that Nick Saban might be interested in coming back to coaching. What would be your reaction if Nick Saban returned to the field?
I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of always thought that was going to happen. I kind of thought it happened after 1 year. But, and I say that just because even seeing recent stuff with him and talking to him on the phone, first of all, I have no knowledge that he's coming back. I don't think anybody does that. I just, he's so sharp still. I almost feel like it's a waste that he's not. No disrespect to the media and what you guys do, but his ability to coach players and change lives in that, and he's so good at it. I just think he'll be back, whether that's NFL or college.
I love Lane. He's just like, let's throw some gasoline on the fire. It's great.
Yeah, I know gasoline. The thing that I love about that is that it's so true. With Nick Saban specifically, Andy, it's not like he's like Joe Paterno at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like he's not
Right.
like a guy that doesn't have it anymore.
Or Bobby Bowden at the end, yeah.
Guys who maybe stayed in college 4 years too long. You know what I mean? The thing that hurts is that greatness left at the peak of greatness. Maybe not the peak because they hadn't won a national title, but still had it in
Whole
him.
3 years. He had
No, I
won a
know, but
national
like for him,
title.
that was a eternity.
Yeah.
You know, the one stat that blows me away, and like all the there was like a entire chapter in the college football history books of like insane Saban stats.
Yeah.
Is that every single player that he signed at Alabama who came in and stayed at least 3 years won a national title.
It's amazing.
I mean, you think about that, man. And I don't think that there's anybody under the thought that he could not do it again. And so when he said it was a waste, that kind of hit me because it's like, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't old enough to realize this, but it almost felt like Jordan going to baseball. It's like maybe not the same time arc because Jordan was in the middle of his career and Saban isn't, but like also
Right.
too, when somebody leaves their craft at a time in which they're still doing it at a high level, it's hard. Like if LeBron
Okay,
would have retired.
let me
7
ask
years
you,
ago.
because I'm glad you brought the Jordan comparison, because we can work with that. I think if Saban comes back, it's more of a Jordan Wizards situation
Do you?
than a second time around with the Bulls situation.
No, because when he was with the Wizards, and I'm not an NBA historian, so correct me if I'm wrong. When he went to the Wizards, were people like they're going to win an NBA Finals now?
No, but he was a good player with the Wizards. Like it wasn't Air Jordan, it was fadeaway Jordan, and he was still good.
Because I don't know if I buy that. I think that if Nick Saban took a job, especially in the SEC, that the expectation would be that they would win the national title. So the Wizards thing is kind of like an encore.
Well, we talked about this yesterday because you fantasize like him going, to a West Virginia or to a Toledo or something, and that I think is the fantasy. I don't think Nick Saban would actually do that.
No, it would just be what I would want. Like if I could create my own adventure, I would put him somewhere atypical to see what the magic of his greatness could accomplish at a place that we otherwise have deemed as a permanent non-national championship contender. Like Rich Rodriguez. By the way, He's really funny. I really like him. We got to speak with him last week for.
You hadn't had a lot of casual time around Rich Rod.
I haven't been around Rich Rod at all.
He's
in
hilarious.
The casual aspect. He was really funny. I was like, wow, this guy's got it. We're under no illusion or delusion, I guess would be the better word, that he's going to win a national title there, right? Like there are like how many of the power jobs are there? Like this is entertaining. We're going to talk about it, but you're never winning at all. Like 80%.
Most of them, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that there's a single job.
Yes.
There isn't a single job in the power conferences of those 80% that are hopeless right now in terms of winning it all, that Saban wouldn't automatically turn into the 20% that could do it.
Salty Cock in the chat. Great name, by the way. Saban needs to stay on ESPN so they have someone who actually knows football. Again,
that's a South Carolina fan, I hope.
Selfishly, I do want him to stay on ESPN because he makes that show so much fun. And I actually like the dynamic between Saban and McAfee. I know there's a lot of people who don't like McAfee. I enjoy McAfee. I understand what the assignment is for him, and he does the assignment perfectly. Saban, though, is so sharp and understands the game so well. And what Saban does, and this is, I'm sure, one of his superpowers as a coach. He takes what should be a fairly complicated concept that it would take a normal human being 10 minutes to explain to someone who didn't know anything about it. And he can distill it down and explain it to you in 30 seconds so that you understand it. I love that about him on TV, and I guarantee you that is what made him one of the reasons he was such a great coach.
The reason why they work is because Saban is a person that when he opens his mouth about football, everybody automatically listens and believes it, and it's true because he's a great one. And like, I don't think people take Pat McAfee serious. I think he's kind of like the clown of the show, right? Like, is that fair?
Which he understands, and he's happy to play that role.
Yeah.
So
like
he's there to bring the energy. He's there to have fun. He's there to antagonize the fans that are on site. Like, that's the job.
He's the heir apparent to Lee, right? Like that's the new Lee Corso.
I think so. And we really haven't. I think we talked about it the day that they announced Corso's retirement. But yeah, because we always said, are they going to get another former coach or somebody who's going to do something wacky, like put the heads on? I think they have the former coach in Saban. He's not going to do anything wacky. They have McAfee for the wacky parts.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I like me and you are so different. And I think it's so in our view of Pat McAfee. I think we both agree that he's very good at what he does, right? Like you don't get to this point by not being good at what you do.
I think that Pat McAfee, if he'd never been a punter at West Virginia or in the NFL, still would have wound up with a show on TV and been really good at it.
Yeah. I don't know if I enjoy him all that much.
That's fine.
It's like
not you don't need to. But we say that about our own show? Like, there are people who we know are college football fans who consume tons of college football content that don't like our show because it's just not their thing. And then there are people who love our show who don't like other shows for the same reason.
And I'm the first to admit that I'm not for everyone, So, and that's okay. And I think that you can simultaneously respect somebody and what they've done while also, like, I don't listen to his show.
I'll give you a good example. When I was in college, I had a guy I worked with at the school newspaper, loved Jim Rome. Like, listen to Jim Rome religiously every day. Like, I don't think he was ever a Jim Rome caller, but would have been a perfect Jim Rome caller. And the show, as constructed at the time, was not for me. I ended up doing Jim Rome's show a few times, and I still do it to this day. Jim Rome is the most professional, prepared, like, he is first class all the way. And you understand when you get around him how he built this media empire that he has. Even if the show is not necessarily in your wheelhouse, you can appreciate that somebody gets it and does a great job. And I think that's what McAfee's done. Like, you and I do a YouTube show every day. We can see how many people are watching on YouTube right now. It ain't as many as Pat McAfee gets. He has
No,
like
sure.
50,000 watching at a time. Do you know how much money that's worth? It's insane.
No, I'm aware. Yeah, no, and it's a dream. And I hope that one day we reach levels that are even half of that. But back to Saban.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's where he should be right now. But I do agree with Lane in that it feels like, to use his word, a waste that he's not still doing it.
Land in the chat. Are y'all going to talk about LSU or not? Yes, we are going to talk about LSU because Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier and company, Whit Weeks, they were at SEC Media Days yesterday. And Brian Kelly seems like he's in a good place. I think he's very excited about this team. I think he's very happy with this roster. I think he understands they have a major challenge in front of them, game one. And I was fascinated to hear him talk about that game against Clemson.
A great deal of respect for Clemson. I think that is a given because of my background playing Clemson, as an ACC team. So I have great respect for Dabo and what he's built and the championships. But at the end of the day, our feeling is this is a goal of ours. This is one of our tangible goals that we have put out in front, that we want to start the season 1-0. It's important to us. And so our off-season training has been about that. It's about going 1-0 and playing a great program. And we're excited about the challenge. It's going to be difficult. But look, I don't think you set realistic goals unless they're difficult. This will be a difficult challenge for us, but one that we're excited about and one that we're focused on with great intent.
This is perfect because it's your first game, so you can always say that. Yeah, he's no. Listen, we might get the fist on the table if they lose to Clemson, but you can say all that stuff when it's your first game because you're not violating the rules of coach speak. It is the next game in front of you, but it's such a psychologically heavier thing at LSU because they've lost the last 5. And the losing streak predates Brian Kelly. It's not his fault they've lost the last 5. He was the coach for the last 3, so those are his fault.
But this would be the most understandable season opening loss that they've had during the stretch. That's
100%
about it. All the games that they lost, unless I'm forgetting one, Andy. Did they play a team that was a legitimate top 5 team at any point during that 5-game losing
Florida
streak?
State, the year that Florida State went 13-0.
Okay, that's right. And that was a good game, right? That was a really good game.
LSU was in it for a half, and then Florida State sort of turned on the afterburners in the second half.
In the second half. But no, LSU was winning in the first half, if I recall.
Yeah. Jared Verse really wrecked LSU that day.
This is the quintessential whoever loses freak out game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Agreed.
Also, I think that while whoever wins this game is going to have a nice playoff feather in their cap, I think both teams are going to be in the national conversation for the playoff in November, regardless of what happens. So, the Brian Kelly thing is also interesting in the same way that the Lane Kiffin thing is, in that, he has been one of the most consistently winning coaches in college football for, 15 years. But I don't think people view him from a fan perspective. If you did a poll, as one of the 10 best coaches in college football, and I don't know.
I think Marcus Freeman has had something to do with that too, because it's all interconnected. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, and his stated goal for leaving Notre Dame is I can go to LSU and actually win national titles. And we looked at that and we said, okay, you've been doing great at Notre Dame. You did better than anybody at Notre Dame since Lou Holtz. When you got at that level with Notre Dame, you guys didn't have the rosters to compete. Well, we saw Marcus Freeman get to that level, and he did have a roster capable of competing. Notre Dame beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl told you all you need to know. And those Notre Dame fans are like, I don't know if we could have done that in the Brian Kelly era. So now Brian Kelly at LSU,
because the easiest
with
thing
the access to talent, has to do that.
It's the easiest thing to say that I don't know if we could have done it under Brian Kelly, but the context of that too is deeper than he said they couldn't do it and then they did it. Like the sport also evolved.
The sport
while he
changed
was
too.
gone. So
But
like,
there's still no excuse to not do it at LSU.
right. That's the thing. It's like, I think that Brian Kelly did a phenomenal job at Notre Dame. And I don't think that Notre Dame's recent success takes away from what he did there. I think in the era in which he coached there, they did quite well. In fact, they made the playoff 2 times. Like, what do you? I know that they didn't beat peak Bama. Oh God!
I'm telling you
like,
right now, if you're an LSU fan and he hasn't taken you to the playoff yet, but Marcus Freeman took Notre Dame to the national title game, that bugs you.
No, and it should, but it bugs you because LSU is LSU. It doesn't diminish what he did at Notre Dame. That's my only point. Like, I think that like diminishing the past because of recent.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not criticizing anything he did at Notre Dame. I'm saying if you're an LSU fan, you're looking at that and going, wait. You came here to do that. We have a better setup to do that than anybody. We've won 3 national titles this century.
Buddy, if he would have won 3 national titles at Notre Dame, this is unacceptable. You know, like
because it's LSU.
Like, yeah, this is LSU.
You're supposed to win national titles at LSU. The last 3 coaches at LSU have won national titles.
I was the one starting the bus up on the hot seat talk a year ago until you told me that his buyout was too expensive.
It's true. His buyout is enormous. It doesn't really matter what he does this year. But I will tell you, if he goes 8-4 this year, the LSU fans are going to go crazy. So they need more than that. But I think he's feeling good about this team. He's feeling good about this roster. I think it starts with the quarterback. They get Garrett Nussmeier back. Here's BK on Garrett Nussmeier, and I think you'll see one reason why he's so comfortable with this roster.
He represents LSU. He represents the state of Louisiana. I mean, he is our guy. I mean, he's waited for this opportunity. He loves LSU. And so you want to follow a guy like that because he's got all the things that you're looking for in a player. Committed, passionate, focused. He's got leadership ability. And he can whip the ball around the yard when you need to. Now, the thing that he brings to the table, as I've said in many of these settings, experience is the best teacher. And he's got experience. And he's got some adversity that he had to overcome along the way. I will take that kind of quarterback anytime in the SEC. Because when you go on the road, when you start with Death Valley, you bring a freshman into Death Valley, you better be ready for the backup to get in there too. That's my point, is that experience and a guy that has the traits that represent LSU is our starting quarterback. How cool is that?
Yeah, he's pretty excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely excited. And I don't blame him because, well, first of all, the last 2 quarterbacks who've gone from year 1 to year 2 as the starter at LSU won the Heisman in year 2. Now it's kind of up to BK about what talent did he put around Garrett Nussmeier because, you know, with Jaden Daniels, he also had 2 first-round receivers that year. But I feel like this is the best roster Kelly's had since that first year at LSU. I think he inherited a pretty nice roster from Ed Orgeron. I know everybody's like, the numbers were down. The players were very good. And then they went and got Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
This is a roster that can compete.
For sure. And I look at this schedule, and I think it's actually quite favorable in comparison to some of the other ones.
Yeah, the one, okay. So we agree on the Clemson game. Everybody's going to freak out about the result. Fact of the matter is the team that loses that game is not out of anything. But that LSU-Florida game is going to be massive for both teams.
But you would rather
be for both teams.
You would rather be 3-1 heading into Ole Miss with a loss to Clemson than 3-1 heading into Ole Miss with a loss to Florida.
Correct. Yeah. Because Ole Miss and South Carolina back-to-back is no easy feat. So you got to go to Ole Miss. South Carolina comes to you. Like, yeah, you want to have 1-0 in the SEC next to your name when you go to Oxford.
Yeah,
because if you go 0-2, you drop to 0-2 in the SEC at that point, which is possible given what we've seen with Ole Miss. You got a problem. You have a massive, massive problem. Then South Carolina, Texas A&M, Alabama, like all become must wins.
Yeah. I think a lot in the SEC is we talked about this, but I think the SEC is going to be a lot of things are going to be determined in this conference by how good South Carolina and A&M actually are, because they land on a lot of
100%.
schedules in very critical places. And you've made this point about A&M, but I think the point also stands with South Carolina. We've been talking all year about how it's a big game on everyone's schedule. If it turns out that it's not, I don't know why it would, but if it turns out that they're just like normal South Carolina or 6-6 South Carolina, then that changes the dynamic for a lot of different coaches. Andy, do you think the Florida game is going to be at night?
It is at night. It's already scheduled, so it's at night.
I'm just like selfishly trying to finagle my way to Tigers, to Baton Rouge, to Death Valley.
I mean, you can get there. It's easy.
I know
you could drive there.
I want to drive there. Yeah. I've never been to a game, and I would want my first one to be at night. So
if they beat Clemson, even if they don't beat Clemson, but if they do beat Clemson, that game is going to be off the hook. It is going to be a wild atmosphere.
Going into the game, I think we should try to go to that.
Okay.
I know that you don't love going to Florida road games because they're right down the street from you, but like it would be awesome.
Well, I love going to Baton Rouge at any time, and I got some tailgaters that I can hook you up with.
The Chimes. Have you been there?
I've been to the Chimes. Yes.
Yeah, they've got a lot of fried fish on the menu. And
but we're gonna go. We're gonna go to the tail. Zach Rao and his tailgating crew. We're gonna call them up.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no restaurant that competes with the spread they put out.
I would love what is on the spread. Just out of curiosity.
Well, it varies by week and varies by opponent.
Is it like themed based on where their opponent's from or something?
Sometimes Zach just wants to do a different theme. He wants to mix things up.
Can you tell me some of the themes? Like you're like teasing.
Well, he'll do your traditional Louisiana favorites. Sometimes he'll do jambalaya, red beans and rice, that sort of thing. But he does pulled pork a lot. He'll do different themes based on
what. I
different
never
games.
asked you this, and it's funny. We've been on a football podcast for 5 years now, and I've never asked you this, Andy. What is your preferred tailgate food?
Oh, I don't have a preferred one. I'll take anything.
But like, what do you think hits the best?
I think something you can. Stuff you have to eat off a plate is hard when you're standing up. So I do like something you can make into a sandwich. So pulled pork's a great tailgate food. Because you can put that into a sandwich, and so as a tailgate main course, pulled pork might be my number one.
I think mine is just a really good brat.
Yeah, that's a northern thing. I like brats too.
They don't do brats in the South at tailgates.
They do, but they'd rather do barbecue. They'd rather do There's some dudes that make some great wings at the tailgate.
Good burger, and
also
a pretty good.
Yeah.
You got a grill and you get some fresh burgers with a potato bun. Oh, talk dirty to me.
Yeah. So we will, and if we end up going to that game, there will be plenty of people cooking gator. So you'll get your fill of gator tail.
I've never eaten gator before.
You're not missing much.
What does it taste like?
Chicken. Yeah. Most of the restaurants in Gainesville have gator on the menu. Like a lot of the just wide array of menu options. Restaurants, they have gator as an appetizer.
Yeah,
it's fine.
There is nothing better than, and like maybe it does get chilly in the South in the winter, but like there's nothing better than a fresh brat off the grill when it's freezing outside.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how that feels because I live where it's warm.
I know, but you've been in the cold before.
No,
I know where you live, but you've been.
I'm just rubbing it in because I don't ever have to deal with that.
But like it's the perfect thing to hold in your hand. And like a good grilled brat is like maybe one of my 5 favorite foods in general.
Just a nice
rare REW there.
Nice pulled pork sandwich. That's all I need.
I'll take a rare dub.
Where'd we go?
I don't know what happened there. Right.
we left for a minute. We disappeared in the transfer portal.
It's like, hey Ari, don't press buttons while live that you don't know what they do. I don't know what the next segment is, Andy. Do you still have more Brian Kelly, don't you?
Well, I think Brian Kelly brings us to our next topic.
Okay, but before we get to the next topic, I want to tell you something that I can't stop thinking about.
Go for it.
It's not the Ticketmaster app. We'll do that at the end if we have time.
Okay.
I played a game of NCAA football online yesterday, and I was in the, I always look at the screen names of my opponents because I'm like fascinated by some people's are funny. Like one was show me your TDs. I thought that was funny. But I played against a guy named King of Condoms, and I'm thinking to myself, and I thought to myself, and I tried to ask him like over the mic, and he didn't have his mic on, but like, how does one become the king of condoms? Like, you're not the king of sex, you're the king of condoms. And I just does
he sell them as like, because there's a chain of stores that they put them in vacation towns called Sock City, where they sell a lot of different kinds of socks. Like, does the king of condoms sell a variety of condoms?
Yeah, like the only thing that would be acceptable to me is if he like is an investor or works at like a condom company, or like is like produces latex or something. But like for whatever reason, do you have things that like you see during the day that just stick in your brain for whatever reason? And you
all the time.
Yeah, like it's like I've been thinking about this for 24 hours.
Yeah, because you want to know how that nickname came into existence.
It's not a flex to be a king of condoms.
He's not Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, but then again, maybe he is.
But like, if you are like a king of like ladies or a ladies' man or whatever it is that you're into, and you get a lot of ass, you would be the king of ass. Like being the king of condoms.
The ass man, like in Seinfeld.
Like, I don't like.
I've been a proctologist.
I feel like I would just love to know why that. Okay, we can go on to the next thing, but the king of condoms like is a very strange name to me.
Well, maybe King of Condoms watches this show. Maybe we can get an explanation.
There, King of Condoms, and like if you're playing NCAA online, there's a
good chance
you listen to the show. And I did play another person. I don't remember their screen name, but this guy absolutely cooked me. And like I'm like 29-5 online, but this guy beat the ever loving crap out of me. And he was picking apart my defense, and he was explaining why my defense was wrong. And I'm like, what are you, like some sort of failed college football player? And he goes, I'm actually a current one. And he guessed he played at some D2 school. I found him on Twitter, and we follow each other now. Like, that guy was really good. So if you're listening.
What conference does he play in?
He played, I'm trying to remember what. I'll figure it out. He plays at Louisiana. He plays in Louisiana somewhere.
So like an FCS school in Louisiana, like Nicholls State or Southeast Louisiana or something?
Let me find it. I'm sorry. Louisiana. What's LCU? It's in the AIAI.
It's
AIA. LCU.
In AIA. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Got it. All right, Ari.
Louisiana Christian.
That's what I was guessing.
Yeah.
It's usually what the C means.
Cooked me. Okay.
Louisiana Cooking Ari University.
He was LSU. And I was like, well, by the end of the game, because I was kind of like felt bad calling him a failed college player, because there are a lot of like college players.
He might be a very successful college player.
There are a lot of college players or former college players that play NCAA who are very good because they understand like coverages in a way that we don't. We just look at the bubble and it's like, oh, there's supposed to be somebody in that area. They like know how to part that based on like watching film. Being good at NCAA football, if you played college football, even if you were a bad player, like that helps. But like I say mean things to people on the mic because I'm that guy. I try to get in their heads and like make them feel bad. And I like actually felt bad because I said, what are you, a failed college player? And then he said, no, I'm actually a current college player. And I said, where do you play? Because I like thought, well, what if I'm playing somebody from like Georgia or something? Like, I don't know who I'm playing.
It's possible. You could be playing Ryan Williams but Ryan Williams would have been talking smack to you constantly.
But then he said, like, I'm not even going to tell you because it's not in the video game and you're going to make fun of me. And I like felt bad about that. And I was like, I'm not going to make fun of you. I said, if you are good enough to play college football anywhere, you're one of the best college players or you're one of the best football players in the world. I'm not going to make fun of you. And then we became friends. But like, I felt bad because like, I didn't want to make like diminish.
Well, it's funny. After I took my son to his first couple camps, I was like, you're never going to let your friends say some college player stinks again, are you? He's like, nope.
No, nobody stinks. Yeah.
He's like, nope. He's like, because I realize now I see how good you have to be to even get on any of these rosters. Like, nope.
But I like now I'm following him on Twitter and like maybe he'll be able to get it in the transfer portal. But he was using LSU and I thought that was kind of like a cool way of like, hey, this is his dream maybe to go to LSU. And now we're talking about LSU and this is what made me think about the game.
So, all right, back to Brian Kelly briefly. Brian Kelly is going to probably get some new fans in the next month or so, because he's going to be one of the breakout stars of this Netflix SEC show. So the trailer dropped yesterday. Let's just show the trailer, River.
Now, as a little boy, teachers would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd say college football player.
The SEC is the greatest place in the world to play college football.
It's the SEC teams who are winning the national championship.
There's such small towns, maybe there's 30,000. But then you pull up to the stadium and there's 90,000 people.
If you play in this league, you will walk into the fire.
Every kid in this state grow up dreaming to play for one of the universities.
Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, LSU. All these teams are wrapped in the fabric of those communities.
I have my life, mortgage, and everything associated with these 18 to 21-year-olds. What, am I crazy?
Each game feels like a Super Bowl for these teams.
It's a brotherhood here.
Pitch your ass off and finish. Take what's yours.
How crazy would that have been?
My first Florida game. It's a real moment. There's been a lot of expectations.
Garrett Nussmeier is going to have a draft decision to make.
I don't really know what the future is.
The way Diego approaches his work inspired me.
The only place in the SEC
that's not hard to play is Vanderbilt.
I heard that. That fuels me.
Whenever something goes bad, I can either feel sorry for myself or I can embrace it, attack it. I still got a job to do.
This is the biggest game in a generation.
One huge win can change your life.
This is my last chance, and I won't be denied.
So there was a very handsome voice in that trailer, Ari.
Yeah. Paul Feinbaum has a good voice too.
He has a lovely voice. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about.
What do you mean?
You didn't notice anybody familiar in the trailer?
Oh, your voice.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I think you're going to be in it too, though.
I'm not. It's okay.
No, I actually have a very good idea of maybe some clips from this show that might have made the show.
When you say clips from the show that made the show, how long are the clips, you think? Like,
I don't know. That part I don't know. But I do know that we gave our friends at Box to Box, which is the company that's making this series, we gave them access to our entire Google Drive of all of our shows to take whatever they needed. So
yeah, that's what everybody always says. I'm riding your coattails to success. And I am. I grabbed on real tight to the back of your coat.
This is going to be a fun show because they did get some really good access. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say. They showed the full first episode to some of the media members in Atlanta last night. So I got a little bit of a sense of how it's going to work. I'm in it a little bit. I did shoot for it a few times. So it's not just the voiceover, but it's very interesting who's in it and like who comes off, really good. I think Brian Kelly's going to come off great. I think people are going to love Diego Pavia. I think people are going to love Shane Beamer.
Yeah. The thing that I've noticed in this job more than anything is that when you meet these people in person, it's like it's very rare that I've met a coach that I like, oh, I hate that guy or that guy's an asshole. I think that like the online press conference, post-game interview persona of certain people, most of the time doesn't match their actual aura as a human. Like, I think Dabo Swinney is the perfect example of that. Like, everybody loves to hate Dabo, but like, I feel like everybody who hates him, if they spent 20 minutes with him, would like him as a human.
Would love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this will be interesting because it does take you behind the curtain that they've got some great inside access for some of the bigger games from last season. And so I can't wait to see, because I don't know exactly what order it's going to go in. I don't know exactly what they chose to use, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun to watch. So I do remember, because the Netflix thing changes things. Like, my wife sent the trailer out to her whole family, because I told her don't tell anybody about any of this because they're pretty secretive. And so the trailer drops yesterday. My wife sends it out to the whole family, and they're all like, "Oh my!" These are people who they don't care at all what I do day to day. But if you're on something on Netflix,
you're in. Yeah, no, you are him, Andy. Don't let anybody ever tell you that.
But it was funny because I remember talking to one of the guys, and I said, "What's the dress code for this? Like, do you need to wear a suit? Is it casual?" Said, "But kind of what you'd wear on your show. Just, remember that 50 million people may see it." I was like, "Okay, all right."
What'd you go with?
I went with a Buck Mason navy cardigan, which
the one that I encouraged you to buy.
Yes, the one you made me buy. Yes, and the day I did it, it was January, and it was weather appropriate. But I ended up having to shoot 2 more times, and you have to wear the same thing. So 2 weeks ago, it was not weather appropriate, but I was wearing it 2 weeks ago.
That's funny. I would have worn this.
You just gone Air Jordan hoodie?
Well, they said what you wear on the show. It's like what, black t-shirt or a hoodie of some sort. It was really cold in our house last night. I don't know why I'm wearing a hoodie because it's summertime, but I'm happy for you, and I can't wait to watch it.
Well, it's going to be fun. I'm interested to see how people react to this, because it's the same company that made the Formula One show, Drive to Survive, and the Full Swing golf show.
People love those.
People love those shows, and it's weird because we do this with the Untold documentaries. I remember reviewing the Connor Stallions one, and this the Untold is a different company, but I remember reviewing that one and thinking, I don't know how much of they're telling me that I don't already know, but my wife was watching at the same time I was, and she was fascinated. She's asking me all these questions, and I'm like, oh, I'm not the audience. She's the audience.
Right. Which is why I think I've not liked most of the Untolds. I watched is the Brett Favre one they put out an Untold?
I haven't watched that one. I will say non-sports division. I watched the one on Rob Ford, the mayor of Toronto. That one, I think they call it Trainwreck is the series. And they had the one on the poop cruise and all that.
Mm-hmm. I watched the poop cruise one.
I'm sure if I covered politics in Canada that I would not, I'd find holes to pick in the Rob Ford one. But I was sucked into that one completely. I just feel like with the
Untold ones, for the most part, they don't tell anything that hasn't been told already, which bothers me. It's Untold maybe to people who don't know anything about it, but I watched the Brett Favre one. It's oh yeah, he's a scumbag. I knew all this, and then it was over.
Right, we knew all that stuff, but I don't think the average person knows all of that stuff, and so
in the Untold stuff, the Florida one remained untold. The one that actually had a lot of the story that people were interested in, who know about college football, were hoping that Florida would blow the cover off, and all the crazy stuff that happened in Gainesville during Urban Meyer's reign. It's oh, okay, well, they didn't even mention some of the most interesting people in the entire.
I can tell you right now, as someone who's heard all those rumors and tried to track them down, very hard to prove anything.
Yeah, and maybe they're not true. I don't know, but Florida's Untold was just a review of what we knew about Florida. Right. I thought that was annoying. Yeah.
If you weren't really watching college football at that time, or you're just more of a casual fan, that stuff was all new to you and was really interesting. I will say, knowing some of what the Netflix folks got for the SEC show, there's a lot of stuff, or even if you watch the game, you haven't seen this stuff yet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch it cover to cover, as you know. Is that the way? Yeah. But
I think they're dropping it at the perfect time. August 5th is the perfect time because people are dying for football stuff at that point. Dying.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it with my wife. So I'm gonna tell her there's a really special person in this,
and it's you.
No, it won't be me.
It will be you.
Over promise. It's okay.
There will be clips of this show.
And
you're in it.
But you're the guy. Let's not lose track of that.
Well, I think we had next year, if they run it back, maybe we just demand to be done in
truthfully speaking, it's an SEC show. You live in the South and know more about the SEC than any. I'm not an SEC.
And you're a Big Tenner.
Yes. If they do a Big Ten one, maybe I could be on it.
I think next year we just demand We just demand that we're interviewed in tandem.
I'm just curious from my perspective, and I don't know if the listeners care to know the answer to this, but I do. So you're going to come along for the ride.
Okay.
Did they ask you anything that I couldn't have answered?
I think you would have been fine with all of it.
Okay, so they didn't like get into the nitty gritty of like.
There was some nitty gritty stuff, like the Florida stuff. Obviously, we went deep into what happened last year, and a lot of that stuff I had to write stories about and report on. So I happen to have a pretty deep, a much deeper well of knowledge on that than some of the other stuff. But I don't think you would have had any problem with any of it.
Yeah, if they would have asked me about Florida, I would have been like, I was in Madison, Wisconsin for the Alabama-Wisconsin game.
Watching Andy saying Billy Napier's going to get fired.
Watching
which
Andy write a column about Napier getting fired. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. But I wasn't I think they got the appropriate person from the show to talk about the SEC.
Well, I think this is going to be really interesting to see how it. I want to see how it lands. I want to see if it lands like the F1 show and the golf show, like because the F1 show is probably their biggest hit. But I think what's interesting about that is it did really well in America, and F1 is not obscenely popular.
Yeah, I actually think too that like if you're serving an audience, because I don't know anything about F1, and I've thought about watching it just because I thought it'd be interesting.
Oh, it's a great show because I think the people. The drivers and the team principals, they're called, which is basically the coach, like they are bitchy. Like they are sniping at each other. I don't think like I would love it if you had a college football show where all the coaches really gave you unfiltered sniping on the record, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're just never going to get that.
Yeah.
So, but we got one more topic today. We talked SEC quarterbacks yesterday. My list of top 10 Big Ten quarterbacks dropped today. So this was a different.
So this show is going to be an hour and a half then.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We won't need to do a whole half hour on it, but we do need to talk about this. And also, it doesn't need to be all SEC this week. Like there are other leagues. So
no, we've been accused of being a SEC show, and this week that should be appropriate because it's SEC Media Days, and the next week will be a Big Ten show, and we did a lot.
We're going to be very Big Ten heavy next week. We were very Big 12 heavy last week. Like, yeah.
We're making the rounds here, but I do appreciate a little Big Ten flavor to end the show. So let's get into it.
Well, this was a much different kind of list because the Big Ten this year is kind of where the SEC was last year, where there's a lot of unproven quarterbacks and you don't really know what they're going to be. So this would be like trying to rank Lenora Sellers going into his year last year, DJ Lagway going into his year last year, even though he wasn't the starter. So we don't know where, and Ari's looking at the list and now he's freaking.
Like, yeah, because I haven't looked at the list yet. I wanted to be surprised by it on the show, and I'm like percolating right now. Like I have a lot of.
Here we go.
Okay.
for the folks on the podcast that don't have the visual, number 1 is Drew Aller from Penn State. Number 2 is Luke Altmaier from Illinois. Number 3, I'm sure this is one that caught Ari's eye, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana.
No, it didn't.
Number 4, Nico Iamaleava from UCLA. Number 5, Dante Moore from Oregon. Number 6, Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. Here's where I think Ari is going to get a little saucy. Number 7, Julian Sayin from Ohio State. Number 8, Bryce Underwood from Michigan. Number 9, Damon Williams Jr. from Washington. And number 10, Mark Gronowski from Iowa. All right, Ari, go.
Okay, first of all, has anybody talked shit to you about the Ohio State-Michigan situation here?
But of course.
Okay, are they freaking out? Explain.
I don't know how to break this to you, but everybody on the internet thinks the list is wrong.
No, I know, but explain the calculus between those two unproven guys at rival schools.
One is throwing to Jeremiah Smith and one's not.
Okay, and one is a year older.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. The thing that I am loving about this list is that, like, when you did the SEC list, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I think they're all generally in the right places. Like, this has a high likelihood of just being completely wrong at the end of the year.
Of course, because, like, if Bryce Underwood is as amazing as we thought, but we've not seen him play a snap, then he might be number 1 by the end of this.
I think that it's conceivable that 7, 8, 9, or 10 could be won by the end of the year.
Entirely possible.
which I'm not sure was the case in the SEC.
So that'd be Julian Sayin, Bryce Underwood, Damon Williams Jr., Mark Gronowski.
Like, what if Mark Gronowski is just completely electric at Iowa? Like, I think that is on the table.
They're on the and that's the thing. Mark Gronowski, for those who don't know, came to Iowa from South Dakota State. He's the 2023 Walter Payton Award winner. So basically the FCS Heisman. He played another year at South Dakota State, even though there's a ton of interest in getting him into the FBS. He was banged up in this spring, so we don't really know what he's going to be yet, but he's a dual threat guy. Very possible this is the most competent quarterback play Iowa has had in a long time.
What about electric Iowa play? Could you imagine like dropping a player like Johnny Manziel into Iowa City?
Well, like Brad Banks.
Yeah, but like, yeah.
So
like modern day Iowa is what I mean.
Yeah. They're a playoff team if that happens. They're a playoff team.
Yeah. This list is right, I think, right now. But nobody would get it right.
Right, because we don't know. We don't know how good Dante Moore is going to be. We don't know what kind of jump Dylan Raiola might take. We do not know what Julian Sayin is, and we don't know what Bryce Underwood is yet. With Julian Sayin,
you know what Damon Williams is yet?
I got a pretty good idea if there's last two games.
Well, I'm saying, like, if the last two games are him, then 9 is absurdly low.
Well, but they still lost those last two games too.
I know,
so.
but like they're going to be much better as a team, I think, this year. I don't know. This is a very good quarterback season. Like this season, I think this is the highest. This might be the most star-studded or most exciting quarterback season of my career.
Well, and what's interesting about it is the Big Ten does not have the establishments. The SEC and the Big 12 have a lot of established ones. The ACC has some. Drew Aller is the most established guy in the Big Ten. Luke Altmaier, I get people who love him. I get people who hate him. Ariel Jarrell. This list doesn't even include Jaden Maiava. No, because I'm not sure Jaden Maiava is going to wind up starting at USC by the end of the season. Because Hassan Longstreet might be that guy.
Who would have thought that at this point in the Lincoln Riley era at USC that you would do a list of top 10 quarterbacks in the Big Ten and that his quarterback wouldn't be anywhere on the list, but you would have representatives from Nebraska, Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa on it.
It's crazy, but it's also that Lincoln Riley has a freshman who might be the dude, and we don't know. We don't know if he's going to be or not.
I guess it's conceivable that a player that's not on the list or even set to start could be on this list by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So Fernando Mendoza is one that the sickos who are diehards for this show know all about Fernando Mendoza because you watched Cal games last year. He was great. His teammates around him, like the supporting cast was not good. Jaden Ott was hurt a lot of the year. Like Fernando Mendoza is a really good quarterback, and he got put with a bunch of talent around him. Indiana brings back a lot.
And he could have been a quarterback at a power school, like not a power conference school, but like an elite level.
Georgia wanted him.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an insane list and just a reminder or a reinforcement of how deep the quarterback position is. Like, I don't even know. I'm sure you're doing the Big 12 and the ACC, but the Big 12 is going to be a nightmare for you.
The Big 12 is really tough because there's so many experienced starters coming back. ACC is a little bit easier, but I think the Big 10's the hardest one because you don't really know what you're going to get out of Moore and Sayin and under. Like Sayin, I feel very confident. If Sayin is adequate, their offense is good because Jeremiah Smith and Cardell Tater are there.
I put Nico in the spring in my top 10 quarterbacks in the country.
I know.
Right, River?
I know.
Yeah.
I remember that. I didn't.
And I
remember some Tennessee fans being really mad one day and then suddenly the next day not so mad.
River's the perfect case study for the fan psyche because he was like, hell yeah, Ari. And like now it's like, frick that guy.
Here's the thing about Nico, though. Nico was good, but not great as Tennessee starting quarterback last year. If he'd been able to hit deep balls, they're a much better team. His stats are much better. Like he had pretty decent stats. He took care of the ball. He only threw 5 interceptions to 19 touchdowns. But I want to say he averaged 7.9 yards per attempt. Like, you want that number to be closer to 9. 10 would be even better. But if he hits some deep balls, then it does get up there. And I think
nitpick though.
Yeah, nitpick away.
Nitpick your list, because like as we're talking about it, there are certain things that are standing out now.
Sure.
And like maybe this is just like me being overly nitpicky. But if you ranked Julian Sand ahead of Bryce Underwood because of players around him and like the fact that he will be just productive by default no matter what, then do you neg Nico a little bit more than you did for being on a team that doesn't have much star power?
Well, but I'm negging Bryce Underwood because they don't have the receiving core that a lot of these other teams do.
I know, but UCLA doesn't either. So you're making a statement that you think
I think Nico could be pretty good because Nico's not going to have to play as many good defenses as he played. He'll have to play some, but it won't be as bad of a schedule as he played last year.
Do you think it's possible that Nico like is a Heisman candidate in the end of October?
I'm not sure about that. Looking at the schedule,
Utah is a tough opener.
Utah's gonna be tough, but it's pretty manageable till you get to Indiana.
That is
the back half of the schedule is brutal.
That's a sneaky good game on a day that has a ton of good games. Wait, no, is the 30th the Saturday or is 30th the Friday?
That's the Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, that's a sneaky good game in a sea of really good games.
Yeah, that's a great let's throw the 3 sneaky great first weekend games out. It's UCLA, Utah. It's Auburn, Baylor on Friday night, and it's Colorado, Georgia Tech, which I think might be Thursday.
Yeah. Is Virginia Tech, South Carolina anything to you?
Sunday. That's Sunday afternoon.
Oh, that's Sunday. Okay.
It's our preview for Notre Dame, Miami Sunday night.
Tennessee Qs. You don't fist pump, River, because you're not going to like what I said. Tennessee Qs might be one of the more interesting games of the day when the day is over because Tennessee is on the ropes. Like at some point, like
and we don't know what Tennessee is going to look like at all.
We also are kind of confused about what Syracuse is going to look like, don't we?
Yeah. Like, because remember, at first Fran Brown said, "Oh, we've named our quarterback," and then Steve Angeli had supported. Like, "Oh, we'll take Steve Angeli, sure."
Yeah, I don't know that I'm like buying the Steve Angeli hype. To the sense that he's going to like turn into like Kyle McCord.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's going to start. I just know they took him after they said we've got our guy.
Could you imagine if Tennessee drops that game?
I can imagine it.
No, but like the fans there. I hope they don't. I mean, I don't know.
Vol Twitter will turn on you just because they want to be mad at somebody.
They'll be mad and they'll take it out on me, maybe. But like
But yeah, Ricky Collins is the guy that the LSU transfer that Fran Brown said is going to be the QB, and then they take Steve Angeli, and you're like, okay, maybe not.
13.5 points, a lot of points, it feels like. That's a lot of points.
13.5 is a whole lot of points.
That's a lot. Because the game's not in Knoxville, right? Like the game is...
It's in Atlanta. It'll be a mostly Tennessee crowd.
No, I know, but it's indoors and like it's a climate controlled. I don't know. Maybe Tennessee. If Tennessee covers that spread, then I think that like my viewpoint of what they are changes a little bit too. Because Tennessee, for as confusing as Nico is at UCLA, I think that Tennessee is also equally as confusing in terms of what they're going to be. Like, what if Joey Aguilar's awesome? Like,
right. Exactly. We have no idea. Just like with Nico, we really don't know what that's going to look like. And I think with all of these, like this Big Ten list, let me tell you who, just based on how the coaches handled the portal situation, like Dante Moore and Julian Sand, you feel really good about because those are programs that have shown us in the past, if they feel like they need somebody, they'll go get them. And neither one felt like they needed anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got good players around them.
Exactly. They're very good. I mean, Julian Sand has the best football player in the country playing on his offense.
Yep. And quite the hack in the video game, by the way.
As well, he should be.
Yeah.
Like Nick Harbor was that last year, but Nick Harbor is not that in real life. Jeremiah Smith is that in real life.
Okay. We are an hour and 15. Can I do my ticket?
All right, go.
It's bothering me.
Go for it.
So for Mother's Day, I bought 4 tickets to the Backstreet Boys in the Sphere in Vegas for my wife to go with her friends from high school.
So you wanted it that way.
I wanted it that way, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not going. I bought it for her and her friends as like a, hey, go to Vegas for, you're a mom. It's a nice gesture. So anyway, I've got the tickets.
You said, as long as you love me, you'll go to this concert.
As long as you love me. So I go into the Ticketmaster app. And this isn't really as much of a Ticketmaster rant as about like, why are we making things harder than they need to be rant? But Ticketmaster, in order to transfer tickets to somebody, my wife or one of her friends, so they have the tickets on their phone and they can get into the venue, you have to type it. You hit transfer. But in order to transfer, you need to get sent a code to your phone that you have to like type in the code. Like the authentic.
Two-factor authentication. Yes.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, the phone number on the account is wrong. I think it's an old number. And you cannot send them without confirming your phone. There's no secondary way of getting that code. You can't email it. You can't do anything. So I go into the Ticketmaster help area to change the number to my current phone number. And when you change the phone number to your current phone number, it sends a code to the other number that doesn't exist anymore. There's no other way to change your phone number on it. So I call.
Did you call?
Yeah, of course. I called and I said, hey, can you change the phone number on my account? It's a phone number that doesn't exist anymore and I don't have access to, so I can't use it as the code mechanism for changing it.
So you said, quit playing games with my tickets.
I'm just saying, why don't you have a secondary code option to go to the email that I use to log into my account or my password or something?
Yeah, Google has like 7 different options. They're like, do you want to use your authenticator app? Do you want to use another device?
Like, if the phone number doesn't exist anymore, then we can't use the phone number as the mechanism to change your phone number. It's insane. So I call and they say this is going to take 4 to 5 business days, and the concert is on Friday. Because I didn't think to transfer it 3 weeks ago. I was like, okay, we've got 3 days. I'll transfer the tickets now. They have it. So now I'm like in a holding pattern waiting for Ticketmaster to call me back to change my phone number and what should have taken.
So you're calling Britt and everybody else who's supposed to go to the show, and you're saying, everybody.
Kind of. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. What's the second part of that?
Yeah.
But like what I just don't understand why things in life that should take 3 minutes could take 3 days. Like, what are we doing as a society? We have think about what we've done from a technological advance. I can FaceTime people in the Middle East and talk to them face to face. It takes 5 days potentially for Ticketmaster to change my phone number without giving me the option on the website to just do it myself.
So they're going to show you the meaning of being lonely for those 5 days.
Okay, Andy, but like, am I the asshole here? What's going on? Like, what are we doing?
They're just trying to protect you from getting hacked and someone stealing your tickets, because there's another person on the other end of this who's just as mad if they put another option down there because their email address is on the dark web or something, where somebody did hack their Ticketmaster account and stole their tickets.
But in order to do that, you would have to hack multiple things. You'd have to hack the Ticketmaster.
Dark web's a mysterious place. Sorry, they got a lot of stuff there.
And why go to Ticketmaster? If I had those capabilities, I'd be hacking Chase Bank. Like, what are we doing? Like,
you and Eddie Vedder need to get together.
Do you know that Chase Bank, in order to like wire money or to pay credit card bills or to take out cash, has less of a security protocol firewall than Ticketmaster?
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
I just think that, like, if people want to change their phone number on their account, there's a high likelihood that it's because the phone number is no longer there.
There needs to be a secondary way for you to verify that information.
Way.
Yes, I'm agree. I am with you. You are not.
But like,
I'm not the a-hole here.
I want to change the segment to "Am I the a-hole?" to like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And it's like frustrating because like I'm getting anxious now that like they're gonna have a problem getting into the show, and you know how it was a $1,200. It was expensive.
And apparently they put on a hell of a show. My wife and her sisters went when they played Tampa a few years ago.
Yeah,
and they're apparently tremendous in concert. So
she went to high school in Vegas, and she's going with all of her Vegas high school friends to the Sphere for the first time. It's apparently the coolest concert venue on earth. You know, and I was like, this is a home run.
You know what? If you get this figured out and they get in, you know what that makes you? Larger than life.
I am larger than life. Also, too, brownie points for things that we do for our spouses. My birthday is Sunday, and she's flying back on Sunday. Like, I even let her go on my birthday weekend.
Let her.
Or I promoted her going on my birthday weekend. That is what you want.
I love you, Ari.
Thanks,
hey,
buddy.
Hugh Freeze is at SEC Media Days today. I guarantee you he's going to say something interesting. He's probably going to get some golf questions. Actually, before we go, we do have one more Brian Kelly clip. Brian Kelly understands the assignment. This is the part that we're learning. Here is the great Jacques Doucet, Baton Rouge TV legend, asking Brian Kelly about golf.
Front row. Jacques Doucet, WAFB in Baton Rouge. Coach.
Jacques? Is it Jacques?
Like Cousteau. Yeah.
Jacques, yes. How you doing, Jacques?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
How's the handicap?
You know what? I had other things to do in the month of June. And July can't. It goes quickly.
Brian Kelly gets it. You were worried the family thing maybe doesn't get the SEC. Nope, he gets it. We'll talk about Hugh Freeze tomorrow, though.